Very good afternoon, everyone. So today we will be discussing the MCQs, some MCQs related to your IS LM chapter. Yesterday only I have completed IS and LM chapter with you guys. In very detail we have seen what is IS separately, what is LM. Then we have seen the IS LM model combined together, right? How can we use these IS LM model, this IS LM model for practical purposes, or say how fiscal policy, monetary policy, any changes in these policies can be judged, their consequences can be analyzed using this model, right? So we have seen the ISLM chapter in detail. Today we are taking up some of the MCQs. If you have been consistent in the chapter, in the completion of the chapter, you are aware of all the concepts, these questions will be the easiest for you, okay? So let's start with the MCQ discussion. First question you have on screen. Okay, so answer is anyway visible for this. Alright, this is your first question on the screen. Question is, what does ISLM stands for? Very basic, tell me the answer. What does ISLM stands for? First option, income saving and liquidity preference money supply. Second option, investment savings and liquidity preference money stock. Third, investment savings and liquidity preference money supply. D, investment stock and liquidity preference money supply. Which is your right answer? Option 3. Okay, so ISLM stands for, as you all know, investment savings and liquidity preference money supply, of course, right? So yes, here your right answer is C. C. What is ISLM? ISLM curve basically tells us where there is, simultaneous equilibrium in the goods market, which is represented by your IS curve, and the money market, which is represented by your LM curve. We have seen these concepts in detail. So ISLM stands for investment saving, IS, and LM stands for liquidity preference money supply. What is liquidity preference? It is nothing but referring to money demand. I have told you in the class that Keynes, in his theory, in his book of General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money, which was published in 1936, has referred to money demand as the liquidity preference. So he has mentioned about liquidity preference theory in that book, and later on Keynes had referred to money demand only as the liquidity preference. So as you know that IS curve represents goods market equilibrium where investment is equals to saving, that's why investment saving, and LM curve represents all those points corresponding to those points your money market is in equilibrium where money demand is equals to money supply. So liquidity preference or money demand is equals to money supply, hence LM curve, isn't it? Okay, so next question. Next question. So your correct answer is C here. Alright. Next question. Tell me the answer. The ISLM model illustrates relationship between dash and dash in the goods and services market in the money market. Tell me, what is the answer? Yes. What is the answer to this question? It is simple, isn't it? ISLM model illustrates relationship between what? Nominal GDP and interest rate? No. In the analysis we have seen that every variable used is in real terms, adjusted for inflation, right? It is not nominal. We have seen this equation, M upon P is money supply is equals to L, which is dependent on I and Y. This is a real money supply, real money demand. So these are in terms of real money adjusted for inflation. Okay, so this is not the answer. Real output and interest rate, None of these. Real input and interest rate? No. Demand and interest rate? No. So you know ISLM model illustrates the relationship between real output and interest rates in the goods market and the money market. So of course answer is B. B should be your right answer here. B is the right answer, as you can see, right? Now, next question. Yes, you will get the PDF as well. Need not worry about that. You will get the same PDF only. Next question, question number 3. What do we mean by goods market? What do you mean by goods market? Tell me, right answer, quickly. You should not take so much time, you know. These are very simple questions. And we have done the chapter, we have completed the chapter in detail. That's why it becomes more easier for you. So, relationship between demand for goods and interest rate. Interaction between GDP and supply of goods and services, interaction between demand for money and supply for money. You know that this is money market, right? D, none of these. E, buying and selling of goods and services. E is buying and selling of goods and services. Which is the correct option here? Anyone? Okay, so you see relationship between demand for goods and interest rate is not goods market. It is, you know, related to IS curve. So goods market is where you buy and sell goods and services simply. So your E stands to be the right answer here. E is the right answer, option E. Okay, see, E is the right answer. All right, next question in front of you. What do we mean by money market? What is money market? Tell me. Interaction between demand for money and supply for money, relationship between demand for goods and supply of goods, interaction between GDP and supply for money, buying and selling of goods and services. Option A. Of course, money market is where you have interaction between money demand and money supply. A is your right answer. A is your right answer. No doubt about that. A is the right answer. You can see. Next question. Okay. Now this concept, you know, the money market determines the interest rate where? How does interest rate gets decided in the money market? You all know that. What is the equilibrium condition in the money market? Equilibrium condition in the money market. MD is equals to MS, right? So money demand is equals to money supply. Money market is an equilibrium where your money demand equals to money supply. And goods market is an equilibrium where your investment is equals to saving, or effectively AE is equals to capital Y. Aggregate expenditure is equals to aggregate output. So here money market determines the equilibrium where money demand is equals to money supply, which is the option E here. So E should be the right answer. E should be the right answer. Yes, E is the right answer. Now next question, question number 6. Question number 6. So investment is which function of rate of interest? None of these positive, negative, can't say, or constant. Investment is which function of rate of interest? Negative, of course, you know that, right? So investment is a negative function of rate of interest. That's why, you know, when rate of interest increases, cost of borrowing increases, you borrow less, you invest less, right? So when rate of interest rises, investment falls. You all know that, because cost of borrowing rises with rising rate of interest. That's why. So the option is C. Investment is a negative function of rate of interest. Correct answer is C, negative. C is the right answer. Now question number 7. In the goods market, you have to fill up these gaps. The dash, the interest rate, more expensive it is to borrow in order to invest, the blank, the level of investment. Which two words will be suitable for filling these blanks? Tell me. Which option? A, B, C, D, E. Which option should be correct here? Yes, answers please, quickly. This is very simple, isn't it? So, higher the rate of interest, option A you are saying, okay, let's see, higher and lower. Higher the rate of interest, more expensive it is to borrow in order to invest, and hence lower the level of investment, of course. So, A should be the right answer. Yes, A is the correct answer, because you know when rate of interest is higher, cost of borrowing rises, we borrow less, we invest less. That's how. So, A here is your right answer. Moving on to the next question. You see, A is the correct answer. Question number 8. Question number 8. So, here you have this question in front of you. When there is equilibrium in the goods market, demand is blank function of output. Equilibrium requires that the demand for goods be blank to the output. Which combination will suit here? Which combination will suit here? These are your options: increasing and greater, increasing and equal, decreasing and greater, decreasing, equal, none of these. What is the right answer here? Increasing, equal. Okay, let's see. Increasing and equal. When there is equilibrium in the goods market, demand is the increasing function of output. That is for sure. You know that, right? So, we know that demand is increasing function of output. Why do we say that? Because when output increases, your demand increases, be it money demand or aggregate demand, right? Why am I saying that? We have discussed that when output rises, output is nothing but the income only, same two sides of the same coin. So, when output rises or income rises, you tend to spend more, you want to spend more, buy more goods and services. For that, you demand for goods and services. That's why rising output leads to rising demand. So, that's why we say demand is the positive or increasing function of output. Also, equilibrium condition in the goods market requires that the demand for goods be equal to the output or supply, right? So, increasing and equal would be the right answer. Yes, B should be the right answer, and you see B is the right answer here. Next question. Question number 9. IS curve is the combination of what? Interest rate and supply of goods, real GDP and demand for goods, none of these, real GDP, interest rate, goods market and money market. IS curve is a combination of which of these? Tell me. A, B, C, D, E. Okay, are you able to see this clearly? Or the left side is somewhat, I think it is getting cropped. Left side of the screen. It is okay, right? Okay, so IS curve is the combination of real GDP and interest rate. You know that, right? IS curve is what? We have interest rate on the y-axis, we have real GDP or real output or real income on the x-axis. IS shows inverse relationship between those. So, IS curve is locus of all those points corresponding to which goods market is in equilibrium, right? So, yes, it is a combination of real GDP and interest rate. We have seen that, isn't it? Now, next question. So, D is the right answer. Yes, very good. Next question, question number 10. IS curve slopes upwards, downwards, none of these, rightward, leftward. What is the right answer? What is the direction of IS curve? It slopes where? From left to right, downwards or upwards? Downward, you all know that, right? So IS curve is a downward sloping curve. Why? Because there is inverse relationship between the rate of interest and the real output. As rate of interest rises, cost of borrowing increases, investment falls. When investment falls, aggregate demand falls, output falls. So rising rate of interest means fall in aggregate output. So that's why it is downward sloping. A should be your right answer. Downward to the right, yes. A is the right answer, downward to the right. You see, this is your IS curve, right? You have interest rate on the y-axis, output here, and it is downward sloping IS curve. Next question, question number 11. Now read these statements carefully and tell me the answer. Which of the following statement is correct regarding IS curve? So incorrect regarding IS curve. Incorrect has been asked. Read it carefully. Incorrect statement you have to find out. First says IS curve is the combination of real output or GDP and real interest rate such that planned and actual expenditures are equal. Second says none of these. C says an increase in the interest rate decreases the demand for goods at any level of output, leading to decrease in the equilibrium level of output. D says equilibrium in the goods market implies that a decrease in the interest rate leads to increase in the output. The IS curve is therefore downward sloping. E says downward sloping IS curve represents the positive relationship between interest rate and the equilibrium output. Tell me which one is the incorrect statement. Read all these statements carefully. Tell me your answer. Why are you saying D? Read the E statement carefully first. Downward sloping IS curve represents the positive relation between interest rate and equilibrium output? No. D is, yes, E is the right answer because E is the incorrect statement here. E is the incorrect statement. D is good. What is the problem with this statement? It is good, right? There is inverse relationship between interest rate and GDP. But here it is not positive, it is negative relation. That's why IS curve is sloping downward towards right. So E should be your right answer. Statement E is the incorrect one. Answer is E. Okay? Next, question number 12. Question number 12. Changes in factors that decrease the demand for goods. So any of the factor which leads to fall in the demand for goods changes given the interest rate remaining constant, shifts the IS curve to the left or right, tell me. And changes in factors that increase the demand for goods given the interest rate shift the IS curve to the, what should be the answer here? Fill in the blanks. What should be the answer? What is the answer here? So change in factors that decreases the demand for goods given the interest rate shifts the IS curve to the left. Okay. So whenever there is demand decreasing, IS curve will shift to left because now equilibrium level of output will fall down. Decreasing demand will lead to fall in the aggregate output level. Right. So IS curve would shift to left. Then change in factors that increase the demand for goods. If demand for goods increases, then at the given interest rate, IS curve should actually shift to right. Why? Because when demand for goods increases, rising demand pushes up the output, pushes up the production, and your real GDP, real income or real output level rises. So it shifts towards right. So your answer should be left and right. Hence C should be your right answer here. Yes, C is the right answer. Understood? Right? Understood the left and right? Okay. So whenever there is fall in aggregate demand, IS curve will shift to the left given the interest rate, right? And wherever there is rise in aggregate demand, it will shift to the right, because you know demand is the driver of economic growth. We have discussed this thing number of times. Next question. Question number 13 in front of you. When there is an increase in taxes, so again now we are trying to judge the fiscal policy impact on the goods market. When there is increase in the supposed tax rates, so the IS curve shifts towards which direction? If tax rates are increased by the government, what will happen to the IS curve? It will shift leftwards, rightwards, downwards, upwards, none of these. Okay, you are saying A. Any more answers? Leftwards. Okay, so you know that what happens when there is increase in tax rate. So when there is increase in tax rate, your disposable income falls down, isn't it? You have less to, what is disposable income? Income minus tax liabilities. So your disposable income reduces, now you have less to spend, so it will affect your demand will fall. Once demand falls, aggregate output falls, you know that. So when aggregate output falls, what happens to the IS curve? This is your IS curve. What will happen to the IS curve? It will shift to the, it will shift like this, either leftwards or downwards, okay. So your answer is A, leftwards. Leftwards, because output falls, right? So you see, sometimes you know leftwards and downwards are used simultaneously. You should not get confused. When you are confused, you just check it out on the axis. So let's say we are saying that taxes are reducing, now you know that aggregate output is to fall, and we have aggregate output on this axis, right? So if it is to fall, it will go closer to 0, isn't it? Yes or no, right? So that would be a leftward movement. That is how you decide. So never get confused in leftward or downward. Sometimes they give these terminologies simultaneously, right? So just try to judge that, okay, it is the output which is getting reduced, so it will be movement towards 0. That's how it will be leftward. It will be leftwards. No, rather than, yeah, that's what I am saying you. Rather than calling it downward, if you don't have the option of leftward, then downward would be correct. But if you have option of leftward, then leftward would be more correct. Why? Because you see, how do you decide leftward or rightward? Don't decide on the basis of graph. That's what I am telling you. Decide on the basis of movement in the variable. So if we are saying this is your IS curve, if we are saying that tax rates have been increased, so you know that aggregate output will fall. What will be the end impact? On the aggregate output, it will fall. You have 0 here. When suppose aggregate output is here, it has to fall, so it will go leftwards only, right? This is how you decide, then you will not get confused in any question. Is it okay? Understood? So that's why we will call it leftwards. Understood, everyone? This is the thing. Alright. Now moving ahead with the next question. So this is your answer. A is the correct answer here. You see, leftward movement. It is also showing leftwards, not downwards, right? So leftward. Question number 14. When supply of money is exogenously determined, it may be written as. We have discussed this thing as well in the class. We have discussed what do we mean when we say that money supply or some variable is exogenously determined, that you know there is some external factor controlling it. So when we say that money supply is exogenously determined, we mean that it is not getting affected by the interest rate, but it is the central bank which is deciding the money supply level via its monetary policy decisions. Isn't it? So we have assumed in the ISLM model, if you remember in the classes, we have assumed money supply to be constant because of this thing only, and hence the money supply curve is vertical parallel to y-axis. Right? So if there is money supply which is exogenously determined by the central bank, not getting affected by the changes in the rate of interest, what can we say? How can we write it? Tell me. A, B, C, D, E. Which should be the right answer here? Yes? Answers please. Quickly. Answers. So it should be MS is equals to MD, which is money supply is equals to money demand. A is your right answer here. Not D, not D, not D. A is your right answer. Why? Because you are assuming money supply to be constant only. Now you draw money demand curve. So there will be equilibrium, right? You are assuming money supply to be constant. It cannot be more than or according to equilibrium condition. It would be equal to money demand only. Because it is not getting decided by the rate of interest, as the money demand is getting decided by the rate of interest, but money supply is not. So we can say they both are equal, or there is a state of equilibrium in that case. Okay, so it can be written as, you know, money supply is equals to money demand, because it is not getting affected by any change in the interest rate. It will remain constant. Only when the central bank changes it, that is what we mean by exogenously determined. Some external factor is determining it, not the interest rates. Okay, so hence A should be your right answer here. A is the right answer. Alright, MS is equals to MD. Next question. LM curve slopes, downwards, upwards, rightwards, leftwards, whatever words. What is the answer? LM curve slopes. You all know that. LM curve is upward sloping or downward sloping? LM curve is upward sloping or downward sloping? Upward sloping. So IS curve slopes to the downward side on the right hand side, on the right side, but the LM curve is upward sloping from left to right. Okay, so LM curve slopes upward. C is your right answer. You know why? Because there is a positive relationship between output and interest rate. Remember, I told you, while talking about LM, we don't analyze interest and output. We analyze interest rate changes on the basis of changes in the output. So here dependent variable is interest rate and independent variable is aggregate output. If you remember, isn't it? So there is a positive relationship. When aggregate income or output rises, what happens is people want to have more money demand, more hold more cash. So money demand rises. Money demand rises, it leads to rise in the rate of interest, because market clears itself. When rate of interest rises, only then money demand will fall down. So to restore equilibrium, interest rate has to rise. That's how it goes. So therefore, there is a positive relationship between aggregate income or aggregate output and rate of interest. That's why LM curve slopes upwards. We have discussed this thing in very detail in our classes, right? So you see, questions will become very easy for you if you are strong with your fundamentals. This is your upward sloping LM curve. On the y-axis, you have interest rate, then here you have aggregate income. Now, next question. An increase in money supply causes the LM curve to shift. If money supply increases, in last class only we have discussed factors shifting the LM curve and the IS curve. It will shift towards, tell me the answer. Increase in money supply will shift the LM curve towards right or left? Towards right or left? Okay, you are saying C. Now see, draw the curve, draw the LM curve. Okay, sorry for that. Here is your LM curve. Now we are saying that, you know, there is rise in money supply. So you know what happens is, when money supply increases, what will be the impact? What will be the impact? So let's try to figure out. Okay, draw IS curve as well. This is your equilibrium condition. This is your IS, this is your LM, isn't it? Now we are saying that money supply has increased. There is nothing mentioned about the IS curve. It remains constant. Only the money supply has increased. That would affect or cause a shift in the LM curve towards, say, this side. Okay, this is your LM curve. So it shifts like this. Now new equilibrium will be where? So it will be a rightward shift, okay, or downwards as well you can say, because you know this direction, here I would say that any of your answers would be correct, either A or C, okay, either A or C, both the answers would be correct here. So you can look it like this, but you know, as I told you, saying downward is, or saying rightwards is far better than saying downwards. Why? Because you know money supply is increasing, so your aggregate income or output level will increase. So you see it like this, as I told you, on the variable, on the axis. So it is 0. If we are increasing the output level, it is going away from 0 towards the right. So rightward should be the more appropriate answer. So you can correct this. It is C, or either A can also be correct. Understood? So there will be no confusion about this question after this discussion, right? So C seems to be more appropriate. As I told you, look on the axis about for the movements, right? You have to look on the axis. Otherwise, both are correct. It is not that the A one is incorrect. Yes. So that's how. That's why I'm saying. Whenever you analyze the shift in the curve, look at the axis, look at the movement on the axis, because sometimes you know equilibrium happens downwards and the curve shifts rightwards. So that's why options are given. So you should not get confused. You just decide on the movement on the basis of movement which is happening on this axis, right? I hope it is clear to you all. Okay, so let's move ahead with the next question. Next question. So you see, it can be this way as well and this way as well. So here, this question has given you A as the answer, because they are showing that this is constant, output is constant, only rate of interest is changing. That's why. Otherwise, it can be right or downwards as well. Okay, one more thing can be there. If these kind of options have been provided to you in the examination, you can do the entire ISLM and money demand, money supply analysis. Sometimes what happens is, when there are simultaneous changes or any change given to you, sometimes output does not change. Only rate of interest change. So we have to analyze whether the output is increasing or not. Had the output been increasing, then the rightward shift would have been the right answer. But let's see, downward can also be. Suppose, so we have money demand, money supply being increased, right? So we have this money supply and then we have money demand, right? So demand remaining constant, we saw that money supply increases. So this was the initial equilibrium. Now the equilibrium is here. So actually it will shift rightwards. There is a fall in the rate of interest. Now when rate of interest falls, you see investment rises. Right? When rate of interest falls, investment rises and money demand increases. So this is impact in the goods market. What will be the impact in the money market? In money market, money demand will increase. You know there is inverse relationship between interest rate and the money demand. Yes or no? Quickly tell me, right? Because when rate of interest falls, you have less incentive to invest and more to hold for cash, isn't it? Now you don't want to invest more in the interest bearing assets, right? So money demand increases. So we have got this relation. Now let's draw this. So when money demand increases, so this curve should move here. It should move here, okay? again what will happen is, you see equilibrium will be on the same original. Are you able to notice this? Tell me yes or no. This new equilibrium is on the same output level which was this one original. No, this one was the original, right? So output has increased, hence your right word would be the right answer here. Output has increased. Need not get confused, just draw the curve and decide on the answer. It is just because these two options are given in the same question, that's why you are getting confused. You need not do this much analysis only. Just see the movement on the x-axis and you will find the answer. Okay, any problem with that question now? No problems, right? So now next question on the screen, question number 17. Choose the incorrect. So again, find the incorrect one, not the correct one. Which one is the incorrect? Tell me. An increase in the money supply causes LM curve to shift down. Decrease in the money supply causes LM curve to shift up. None of these are incorrect. Equilibrium in the financial market or money market implies that for a given real money supply, an increase in the level of income which increases the demand for money leads to increase in the rate of interest. That's why LM curve slopes upwards, and E says upward sloping LM curve represents positive relation between interest rate and output. Which one is the incorrect one? Which one is the incorrect one? Tell me the answers quickly. Yes. Devanshu, Tanishka, Bharat. All are correct. Okay, so you are saying all are correct. Let's see. Increase in money supply causes the LM curve to shift down. Yes, down or rightwards, as I told you, So this is correct. Decrease in money supply causes the LM curve to shift up. Yes. Equilibrium in the financial market implies for a given real money, increase in level of income increases the demand for money, leads to increase in the rate of interest. Yes, positive relationship, right, between aggregate income and the rate of interest. And the E is saying upward sloping LM curve represents the positive relation between rate of interest and output. So your answer is C. As you can see, all of them are correct. Here I would say there is positive relation between output and rate of interest. You just interchange these words, okay? Otherwise this can be incorrect as well. Just a precaution, because this is some typing mistake, okay? Otherwise answer is C. Answer is C. All of them are correct, but here I think there's a mistake in typing, so it should be output and interest rate. It should be output and interest rate. Okay, you interchange these words, because we have seen that here interest rate is the dependent variable doing the LM analysis, not the output one. Output one is the independent variable. Output is the independent variable. Okay, got it? So answer is C, but due to some typing mistake, just interchange them. Okay, output and interest rate have positive relationship. So I have given you the clarification for this. Answer would be C. Now next question. Question number 18. Taxes affect the blank curve and not the other curve. Tell me, taxes affect which curve and they do not affect which curve? What is the right answer here? Taxes affect which curve? What is your answer for this question? Question number 18. Okay, you are saying D. So taxes affect the IS curve, you know that, right? IS is the goods market, tax is related to fiscal policy. Fiscal policy affects your goods market and monetary policy affects your money market, right? So taxes affects your IS curve and not the LM curve. So answer should be IS and LM E. E should be the right answer. Okay, E should be the right answer. Why are you saying C and D? Taxes affect the IS curve, isn't it? When taxes increase, IS curve shifts to the left. When taxes fall, IS curve shifts to the right. So it has to do with your disposable income. When taxes increase or decrease, it affects your disposable income and then affects your aggregate demand. So this phenomena is related to goods market, hence IS curve will shift, not the LM1. So your correct answer is IS and LM. It does not affect the LM curve, isn't it? Monetary policy decisions will affect the LM curve. They will not affect the IS curve then. Understood? So your answer should be E here. Correct answer is E. Question number 19. Question number 19. Monetary policy does not affect the which one and only affects which curve? Similar question. What is the correct answer here? Monetary policy does not affect. Monetary policy does not affect. Tell me the correct answer here. Monetary policy does not affect which curve? D. Affects both the curves? No, see, directly it is asking you. Although both the markets have implications of any policy change, but you know, when these questions are asking you, they are asking you of the direct impact. So you have to look like that at the question. You have to consider that situation. Directly monetary policy affects the LM curve, not the IS curve. Fiscal policy directly affects the IS curve. Understood? Recently we have discussed that. Okay. So answer is B. Correct answer should be B. Monetary policy does not affect the IS curve. It only affects the LM curve. And that change then affects the goods market as well, but not directly. Understood? So directly the curve which will shift in response to monetary policy change is your LM curve, not the IS curve. IS curve shifts in, changes related to your goods market. So B is your right answer here. IS and LM would be the correct answer. You see, B is the right answer. Okay, B. Last question, which of the following statements is correct related to ISLM model? You need to tell me the correct statement now. Correct. So tell me, equilibrium in the goods market implies that an increase in the interest rate leads to decrease in output, represented by the LM curve. B. Equilibrium in the money market or financial market implies that a decrease in output leads to increase in the interest rate, represented by the LM curve. None of these. Equilibrium in the financial market implies that increase in the output leads to an increase in the interest rate, represented by the IS curve. And E says equilibrium in the money market implies that decrease in the interest rate leads to increase in output, represented by the IS curve. Which of them is correct? Which of them is correct? Yes, anyone? Which of these statements is correct? C. None of these. Very good. Yeah. So see, first says equilibrium in goods market implies this, but it is not represented by LM curve. It will be represented by your IS curve. So this is incorrect. Equilibrium in money market implies decrease in output leads to increase in interest rate. No. Decrease in output will lead to fall in interest rate as represented by the LM curve. That's why it is upward sloping. Positive relation, right? So incorrect. Then third, D says equilibrium in money market implies an increase in output leads to an increase in interest rate. That is true, but it is represented by IS curve? No, it is represented by LM curve. Last says equilibrium in the money market implies decrease in the interest rate leads to increase in output. No, this is something implied by the goods market. So again, it is also incorrect. Hence, nothing is correct here. So none of these should be your right answer. None of these should be your right answer. So C is your correct answer. You can see C is your right answer. This is your equilibrium condition for IS and LM, as we have seen in the classes as well. So this is your IS curve, this is your LM curve, where they intersect is the point corresponding to which both the markets, IS representing the goods market, LM representing the money market, are in simultaneous equilibrium state. Any changes in any of them affects the equilibrium state of both the markets. Any policy change, that can be fiscal policy or monetary policy as well. That is why ISLM, is an interesting chapter. So it helps you understand what impact will be there on both the markets, goods market and money market, if there is any policy change in say fiscal policy or monetary policy. Because although we study their features, their assumptions, their models separately, but in practical life, in practical economy, they do not operate in isolation. They have interconnections. One market changes in one market affects the other market as well, isn't it? So these were the questions related to ISLM for today. This PDF will be given to you. It will be uploaded. You will have access to this PDF. I hope these questions, now you are able to revise all these concepts of ISLM. Once you have strong grasp on the fundamentals, believe me, we are doing these topics in a much detail than required. Okay, so you will be able to answer each and every question. You just have to be very strong with your basics. That is all what I can suggest you, right? So that is it for today's class. You can ask me any questions if you have. Otherwise, we will end this session here. I'll see you in the next session. Any doubts? Tell me. Any doubts related to these questions? Any doubts? Yeah, it will be relevant for your IFSCA phase 1 as well as for SEBI. Okay. Any other question which you have? Tell me yes or no so that I can decide. Alright, so no further questions? Alright then, thank you so much for staying tuned. Okay then, have a good day. I'll see you in the next class. Thank you.